Hello, and welcome back to Transport Fever 2, the EPEC challenge here at One Last Turn. Happy that you're tuning in. Today, well, last time we got this food train up and running. So now we are finally supplying Wendover with food. Obviously, we also need to get some food to Corby and any surrounding cities if necessary. The rate is pretty abysmal. 34. Although it does seem like we are doing 64, so I'm not sure why this rate says 34. Do think that we do the trip in like it takes a year, so. But that was last time. This time we are going to probably beef it up a bit with the amount of money that we are making currently and our balance here, or value reaching 20 million. I think we could probably just do an entire track, an entire double track along this route. I don't think we need to be so worried about saving money as I maybe have been, and doing these sort of crossing places. I don't know. Maybe we try another one. Add one here, like I said last time. One here and one here. Add two more. See if that doesn't alleviate, because I don't want this train stopping and having to start up again. And especially if we are to, let's see, what is the rate here, 73. If we have to get even more grain trains, which we, to be honest, we probably do. If we look at the farm up here, we only transporting 34%. We want to get that as close to 100 as possible, obviously. So we can probably take at least a couple more trains, and then we can add a couple more trains for the Ashton-under-Lyne food processing plant, so we can get more food into Wendover and also into Corby. First, though, I wanted to look at those ships that we got. If we look at our waterline managed vehicles, most of them are in very bad condition. The rate is 117. I don't think we're at any sort of risk of transport on the mines is fine here, and both production, shipment and transport is fine on the sawmill. And if we were to hit the limits here, it would just increase, so no issue there. So I think we'll take all these vehicles here and see if we can't replace them with this new Frontenac. So we currently have the Willem. It has 20x loading speed, 22 kilometers an hour top speed, and a capacity of 70, while at 75,000 a year. And the Frontenac has a top speed of 28, which is 6 kilometers more, which is like close to 30%. Loading speed is 50% bigger, and the capacity is 15 bigger, which is somewhere around 20%. The price is close to 50% bigger, but I think with the increase in speed and capacity, Oh wait, it's only for passengers though. I hadn't seen that. Well, good thing that we did this little walkthrough. That would have been catastrophic. I'm actually not sure it would have allowed us to do it, but yeah. So we can't use that. We would still have to go with the Dunara. It also has bigger capacity, but it is a large ship, so we would have to upgrade all of our ports, and we don't want to do that now. So that is pretty much set there then. One thing we gotta remember to keep an eye on is that since this steel mill doesn't ship its steel anywhere, there is a risk that this will be one of the industries that close. So we have to sort of keep an eye on that, and possibly we need to send it somewhere. I think what we would do if that were the case is maybe we would just send it over to this factory over here, have a little ship, and then some rotor train or something to this factory, because alternatively we would have to go down to this factory here, which would be quite expensive in that the return trip would be empty. I guess we could pick up some wood here and drop it off at the sawmill. That would mean that this part is empty, and then this part up here would be empty. That's a little bit better, I guess. Maybe we'll have to do that, but I want to wait with that at least until we're forced to, or we have a little bit better control over in near Wendover and Corby. I just want to take a look at this train here, see finance-wise how is it doing. It does seem to be still doing these years where it doesn't go as well, but it also seems like that the other periods are more than making up for that, so this is in a positive overall. Brothen is only getting 16 in the fuel supply, so we could sort of we could double the capacity here if we wanted to, but for now I think this is fine. We don't need the money. The train does cost a little bit. What happens if we manage vehicle? Let's just see here. We are running with the Borsig. We could upgrade it to the Preuss and sort of increase the capacity that way. Then we would also have to increase the capacity on the refinery here, but maybe that it is in very bad condition. So let's do that. Let's replace it with a newer train. It currently has 30 capacity. Let's double the capacity. We're still on very good speeds with double capacity, so maybe we go all the way to 80. Yeah, so on the high slope will be 19. I think that's okay. Costs 3 million. Let's see. Currently it has a rate of 24, and if we replace it like this, it's gonna jump all the way up to 65. So that is like 60%. No, 24. So that's 100, 120. So 150% increase. So a tripling, right? I don't know, maybe not, but we at least need to get this one to the 65 as well. So let's manage the vehicles and just clone. That gives us to 90, 59, so let's get 2 more maybe. 67, that's gonna be fine. Obviously it's gonna run a little bit empty here, but that because we upgraded it mid-haul, but that is gonna be okay. And we're gonna have to upgrade this as well here. We don't need to double it though. That should be more than enough. 66. Alright, so that should satisfy Broughton a little bit more. Let's go back here to Wendover and see what we have going on. I would also like for Northern-on-Derwent to get some machines. We are producing a little bit more. We're at least storing a bit here on the station, so we should be able to set up a route if we wanted to. We can just do that here in the back. There we go, and then we just need a drop-off location for machines in here somewhere. Let's do it here in the somewhere around here, and then we're just gonna build out that city a little bit so the route is a little better. Get a line in here from here to here. There'll be no crossing over. That's very nice. And we'll call this Nor'oder machine delivery. Cool. And we got a depot up here. That's fine. No problem in them running down there. Let's just get 4 to begin with and see how that goes. If we click this little mark here, it only shows the routes that we can see, so it makes it sometimes a little bit easier to find the line you're looking for. So this is a rate of 33. That's gonna be okay for now. We'll see how everything holds up. Maybe we have to increase the steel and the plank supply. Now we're waiting on a free path here with the grain supply train. And why is that? That's because this one is delivering and we don't have a signal here. Doesn't need to be one way, so we can just do that. That should allow this one to go, because this one will this one is waiting for a free path now because of the steel train. Now this I don't want, so we probably wanna expand this with an extra set of tracks just for the pass through. And we need some tracks here. And then we'll get the extra set of tracks. Actually, let's just pause here and remove these connections here. So we can connect this one there, maybe not. This needs to be taken back a bit. You connect this track to this track, and this track to the others, to the station track there. That ruins a train, that's this one. No path, it says. Okay, let's look at the line. It should be able to figure that out, but it might have already gone a bit too far. So let's just turn it around. Sorry about that. Let's just turn it around a little bit so it can get out of this crossing here. And then it should be able to find its way back. There we go. No warnings. Cool. Yeah, so this makes sense to have such a short amount of track too. Now I wanna probably keep an eye on the supply here in Wendover, both with brick sand and food, because we might need to increase the rate of this. Whoops, didn't want to do that. Oh well, doesn't matter. Now I know I want more food down here. So let's get a secondary remanaged vehicle, and actually we'll need to get more grain in first. So if we manage that vehicle and we just let's clone them both. And they're both waiting for a free path, obviously. So we should have probably waited. Oh well. I don't know if they lose money while they're here in the depot. Have to take a look. Now one thing this does also do is it's gonna increase the... If we increase the food delivery, we also increase the machines delivery on Ashton under Lynn, which isn't that big of an issue. Because we have plenty of room, so we can at least double it. There shouldn't be any issues there. But we are gonna have to wait a little bit until these sort of get going. Now, do we want to increase the... Do we want to increase the steel train? Is this a lot uphill? It is a little bit uphill. Just trying to see here why it's so poor. We could upgrade the engine. That should increase the rate as well if we upgrade the engine. It's gonna cost us a bit of money. And we already... I mean, those two trains were expensive, so... It's only gonna cost us 600k, which isn't that bad. Let's see how the rate is affected. Okay, that wasn't as much as I had hoped, to be honest. Only 6 more. Maybe it takes a little while to get updated. We can hope. Otherwise that was not really a good purchase. almost 10 million in investments on that last year there. But I mean, trains are expensive, so that is just how it is sometimes. Now, why isn't this train moving? It's waiting for a free path. For what? And now we have this train waiting for a free path. We have this one. Okay, so don't we have any... Probably need a signal. I'm gonna run and get a little bit of money. Probably need a signal here. Yeah, and then this can get out of the station at least. But it is gonna block and leave that other train. Let's see if we can't do some more of those. Whatchamacallits, some more I'm totally blanking here right now. Sorry. If we can't get some more crossing paths here. So hopefully we can avoid those. Throw one here. And yes, we could just build. Okay, machines in Wendover. I mean, it's nice in the way that Wendover is growing and has more demands. It's not nice in that getting machines to Wendover is a little bit tricky, and it wants goods as well, so that's an entirely new industry that we somehow have to get up and running. We do have the possibility of making plastic up here. Do we have an oil refinery anywhere? Because we have a goods factory down here near Wendover, and that would be nice. We have an oil refinery down here in sort of a mountain valley. So it would be something of the sorts of getting the oil to this refinery. We have 2 oil wells nearby that can become sort of one. So we can get the oil to the refinery down here. It would make more sense to feed it from here though, externally, because otherwise the train running here is, even if we sort of use both oil wells, it's gonna run empty or half empty on the way back up here to the chemical plant, but maybe that's just how it is. We could also do it from up here. Oil well into refinery here, oil well into refinery here, and then take the oil into the chemical plant down here, and then that would go back empty though. So maybe it's more along the line of taking the oil from this well up here and then feeding in with one, and then on the way back it'll take to the chemical plant and then it'll go a little bit further down to the oil well and it will start again. That's probably a very nice profitable line. And then we just need some kind of setup to get the plastic down here to the goods factory. Unfortunately, that's only half of the problem with regards to goods, but we do have steel, so we could ramp up steel. There's also a steel factory over here, but there's no iron. That would have to come from all the way up here. That could sort of reuse the tracks. So maybe that is the way. Then we would have to have... It would run half here to the coal mine, pick up the other half, then make steel. And then it can't transport the steel, right? Because steel is stakes, and iron and coal is gondola. So we'd have to run empty on the way back here. This really is the most optimal way for making steel if the steel mill is in the middle. But I think it's gonna be what we have to do. Hopefully all of these things stay in place because I do want to keep focusing on food. But yeah, that is sort of where we're at currently. Now this grain train is gonna be waiting for a while until these two, or maybe it will be allowed to pass here. I'm not sure. Yeah, no, it is waiting for these grain trains up here to sort of go through, and that's gonna take a little while. This one is also accruing a negative, which is unfortunate. This one is now waiting on the food train down here, isn't it? Yeah, it is. We don't have the money to continue, so I think I'm gonna have to borrow a couple of million just so we can get this these tracks set up. See, we definitely want one going out here, and then we want one going out here, I think. That's the way to do it. That was one of them, and then we also want one here at sort of the midpoint in this curve here. 50. So 400 meters, and then it's gonna have to do, I think. That's what we get for doing it in a curve. We'll put some signals here as well. For the future. Now if we look at the line, it is gonna do this in the future. Split up. On the outside, it's going up to Wendover, so that is hopefully gonna help a little bit with those passings, and now there isn't so long in between these passings either. So if we end up seeing that this doesn't work, then we will just create the full double track. I think that's where we're at right now. We have a grain train here, we have a grain train here. Hopefully soon we have one more. We have this one waiting here still. Now, while we wait for this to sort of populate a little bit, we gotta make sure that this can keep up. The machines here at Northern Derwent can keep up. We have a lot of there's a lot of stuff for Ashen under Lynn. It does say it has some for Wendover, so we might want to manage the line here, and at this intersection we want to make sure that it's not going to load anything but food, because then it's going to run like it is here. We didn't catch it in time. It already loaded. Oh, it's very close to the station, so we can just send it back. But yeah, otherwise it's gonna leave room for taking machines, and we don't really want to take machines, at least with this train. I think if anything, I mean, maybe we do, to be honest. Maybe we do. It is gonna scale to the demand and the available capacity. I'm just gonna pause it. I'm just gonna pause it here. Let's going back to Wendover. Let's. It's no, we don't want to do it, because it's gonna add this entire stretch, which is over half the line, so it's gonna add like 33%, where we don't sort of meet the capacity. But don't we have enough food? We don't have enough food. So it is gonna run anyways. So let's let's just see what happens here when we scale the capacity. Maybe it's just gonna be that we have one extra wagon on these trains here, and that's for the small demand of machines that Wendover has right now, and that's gonna be fine. It's gonna help Wendover grow a bit, and it's not gonna hurt our profits too much, is the hope. Yeah, we're gonna have to see on that. Now, curious whether or not this train is gonna end up slowing down. It does seem to be gaining speed a bit, and there is a hill, so maybe it's a natural slowdown. But this one did stop. So we are still sort of at the mercy here. Now this one is waiting for the free path for this one to cross. I think maybe we just have too many trains. Either we have too many trains, or maybe I just don't know how to set this up properly. But what I do know that is, if we make it double tracked, then that's not gonna be much of an issue. I'm just gonna pause the game right here and get rid of these here, and then we will throw down proper tracks instead. Whoops. We wanna let's leave this for now, I think. Does this still run? And this one is gonna start running, yep. So that's good. Just gonna get rid of the signals as well. Not that one. Now this here is made the other way around. So we're gonna have to get rid of some of the track. Hopefully this doesn't, yeah, it's still 120, so that should be fine. And then we will go here and we will get rid of this. Okay, so the crossing here is a bit tricky, it seems. There we go. Oh no, too much slope. Wow. Okay. That is definitely an interesting choice I had made there. What if we take it back a little bit? No, this hill here is too much for it. What if we smooth it out a little bit? Sure, that's gonna cost a little bit of money. Yeah, it's too much slope. Okay, what if we temporarily get rid of this road? Too much slope. Okay. How do we fix this? Can we just speed this past a little? Nope, it's waiting for a free path. Brilliant. So we can't. What I wanted is to get rid of this. See if we can't connect it then. Together there. Yep. And we'll just make the crossing. Okay, and that should fix the issues. This says it's waiting for a free path, but it is running. No, stopping here. Now, why is it waiting for a free path? Do we really need... Oh, this down here might need to be fixed. Then we need to make sure that they can both be accessed. Something along these lines. Does that allow this one? It doesn't. And now this might be because this one's waiting for a free path. Let's take a look at the line here. Let's see, we got it set up so it uses one specific. That should be okay. Now, this one is waiting for a free path though, because we got a train, so we probably do need to set up waypoints, not waypoint signals. And we will be using one-way signals. We'll just start it somewhere around here. Actually, that's not... Oh, that's very expensive compared to what I wanted to do. It's not necessary because this should act as a signal, I believe. But then again, it should be out here, shouldn't it? I'll just place one there, and then somewhere around here, I think. I know it might be a mod, but I know there's a way to sort of drag them across your train line and space them evenly. It might be a mod, I just remember it, that it was a thing I saw at some point. But I'm not sure So that is in that direction, and we will just set it up together in the opposite direction. But yeah, I'm pretty sure I saw, maybe it was a mod, maybe it's a vanilla setting. If it is a vanilla setting, and you know what how to do it, let me know. That would be helpful for sure. Let's see if this doesn't work. I do believe it should. Everything does seem to be moving now. But the train up here should be moving as well, right? Yep. Cool. Cool. There is also this case here where we might as well, I mean let's pause it and so we do want this going that, but we still want this to cross over so that we also want it to cross over the other way, right? Because this train needs to go back on this set of tracks, but we need to get train over here as well. That's just gonna be here, I think. Now that shouldn't mess up any of our trains. Still have this hill here that is quite hard on the trains. Look at that. Look at that incline. Obviously that is quite rough. But they'll live. They get down to about 15 if I remember correctly. Okay, so the rate of this is now 145. I'll have to keep an eye on it a little bit. But we should be able to get another train for bread. I believe. We have a lot stored here, but gonna have to watch it a little bit. But while we do that, let's get started a little bit on this line here if we can. Now contour wise, we probably wanna climb this way a little bit. Keep to this layer maybe. But then again, we do want to get up there. I'm just thinking maybe there's a different route. Maybe this makes more sense. see there's a height at mouse cursor thing here. We can see that there isn't much of a height change here, while though everything is pretty high up, the height change isn't really that big. So maybe that makes more sense, to be honest, going this way. Using this oil refinery, taking it with, then we get past a goods factory as well that we may or may not use. We get past an iron mine that we may or may not use. Oldham refinery. Where is Oldham? Just want to make sure that it's not something that we're planning on. Doesn't look like it. Yeah, so I think a route through here probably makes a lot more sense given the flatness of it. Let's throw down a cargo terminal. I at least don't think we're gonna bring anything else up further past this. Otherwise we'll just have to change it later, but I think we're good. Want to place it here, and we can get a road out. That should connect it, yep. And then we want to get a station somewhere around here. This is probably going to be a through station, or it is. It's going to be a through station. Question is, because we do want extra oil, so that we want oil on the way back. Question is whether or not we'll go for this one or this one. Bird's eye view is the way we get paid. So it's either here or it's here, so we'll get more money if we go down here. It's also a longer distance. And how about the contours? Well, we had 104 here, and then it's pretty steep decline all the way down to 100. And here we also go down to, sorry, all the way down to 0, but here we also go down to 0. And it's faster. The decline is faster. And we have to go through a mountain, so maybe going this way is the best idea. Although, I mean, it's gonna be a rather slow decline, right? At least. It does go 100 down, but it goes 100 down over 3 kilometers. Anyway, we want a cargo station here. This road actually lines up pretty well. So don't think maybe we want it to be like this. Just slightly more curved. We'll just get a little bit of a road. Cool, cool, cool. Now let's see if we can get some tracks. Up here. Can't, not without a collision. Collision with what though? Or with this road here. It's not gonna allow us to do it. But to be fair, I do also want to sort of curve around this mountain if at all possible. So maybe we just go sort of straight here. And then we curve 30 degrees here. Maybe we start by making this stretch here so we can curve into it naturally. with the tool. Does have a bit of a slowdown, so that's not really what we want. What if we get rid of this stretch here? Does that help us? Does help us a tiny bit. So what if we get rid of the last one? That does do 120, and we do get around the mountain. Wonderful. And then for my sake, we can get rid of these at least, if that helps us land into the station here. With 120 it does. Wonderful. How much was that investment wise in tracks and infrastructure? Okay, a little bit more expensive than I had anticipated, but that is it's okay. Wait, did I make a passenger station here? I do seem to have done that. Okay, no issue. We can just reconfigure it. Let's get rid of the passenger platforms and throw down some cargo platforms instead. And this is not a cargo building, so let's throw down a main cargo building. Oh, this is a cargo station. Obviously we could have demolished it and made it a cargo station instead, but I actually think this is a little bit cheaper to do it this way, so that's what we're gonna do. And then we need a station down here, a terminus station. Cargo terminus. Wanted to point in the direction of that up there. This is probably fine. Now let's see how our tracks look if we were to just connect them. I have a feeling it's gonna be quite bad. You know what? That is not too bad at all. It does terraform a little bit, it does cost $1 million, but it's not like it's making cliff sites, right? It's not that bad. Obviously this road here is quite annoying, so I'm gonna pause the game because we're gonna break a connection between the city here and Corby. But maybe this does give us a bit of a better road or set of tracks. At least, maybe not. We can use the M and N keys to sort of raise it and lower it. I raised it a bit here. That does make sort of this embankment here instead of digging down though. There is obviously the possibility of doing this ourselves. What if we try that? I would like to avoid a curve going out of the station. Don't want to go into a bridge. So the M&M So basically you can use this up and down arrows to raise the endpoint, but the M and N keys, they raise the middle point of the track. I think this is acceptable. So this is 100k, and then we will go sort of as far before we start cutting too much down. Don't want to do a bridge, so maybe we want to go to about here. That didn't really help a lot, to be honest. But the M and N keys here does help us a bit. It did become cheaper, but obviously it's not as flat of a route, so maybe we did screw ourselves with regards to that. We're just gonna have to see whether or not the train can actually handle it in a meaningful way. Okay, so that is our stations and our track, and we can make a line that goes from the... I mean, in reality, it would go from the oil to the refinery to the plastic. We'll also be feeding it some oil up here. This will be north, leach, plastics. Gotta get a train on this line, and question is if we shouldn't just throw down a depot. But we have a depot that's really close here, but we can't really get it through because this is a terminal. We aren't connected otherwise at this point, so let's just do it. Let's just throw down a depot here, even though it's gonna cost us some money in maintenance. You're gonna want the biggest train. I wonder though, we can play and see between these locomotives. This one has a lower top speed, but the tractive effort is lower, so but the power is a little bit higher. So, and it is a little bit lighter, so maybe that could translate to the hill climb being easier. And then we'll have to do okay with the fact that the rest of the trip, even though, I mean, the rest of the trip is over half the trip, so maybe it's okay that it's a little bit, we'll play around with it and see. I think that's the way. Let's start with the big, it's not the big boy, but the Prussian 53 G3. And we gotta get some tank cars in here. Now with the 80 capacity, we can't buy it, and it would probably go down to the high speeds. Let's run the game so we actually can probably get some money. Can go down in capacities, say to 60, and then just upgrade it later. This also has higher speeds on both the medium and the high slopes, so maybe it's a better fit anyways. I'm gonna speed up the game just so we can see this. Actually, I'm gonna keep it on normal because I also want to set up this transport here. I want a probably a direct street, to be honest. 1,000 meters as opposed to... This is supposed to be a straight line. 600... 600, so it's 200 meters that will save. Let's just do that. We'll have a drop-off point here near the end. And we'll have a truck station over here. And we don't have any road depots anywhere near here, so we'll have a road depot as well. We can use that for Chesterley Street at a later point. We'll get all cargo. Let's just go with 4 for now, and we can compare the ratios. Set line, new line, from here to here. And this will be North Cleach, crude feeder. That'll run on 27, and how much is the rate on our train here? And also didn't fill all the way up. Let's have it go back. Have to make sure that the line fills all the way up on South Cave with crude oil, no unloading. And then it gets to Chesterley Street, where it should also fill up completely, but with refined oil, and it should only unload crude oil. And then with North Eastington, it should only unload refined oil, and it shouldn't load anything. Let's just speed this up so we can get a full load here, and we can see the rate is 28, which is close to the 27, to be honest, so it might be that that is the correct rate. We're gonna have to see. Okay, let's put this on our regular speed and start taking a look back here at the grain supply. How the finance is looking. Almost 4 million. So not quite a doubling, but we did have some issues with the train track, so maybe it evens out and we get to about 5. Obviously, we did increase our costs, but still quite a bit of profit there, so not too shabby. But how about the food processing plant? We have a lot of food, well, maybe not a lot, but we have food waiting here in the train station. It is starting to want to upgrade. If we can ship out some more food. We have 40 waiting, and is this that's a grain supply. So where is the train for the food? That's grain supply as well. Why is that waiting on a free path? Where is it even? It's here, waiting for a free path, waiting on this train. Okay, waiting on a free path. Why? Is it because of this train? That's not so good. We have to fix that. But first I want to see where is our food train currently at. Oh, it's right here on the way in. It does profit. I mean, it sort of alternates between 400k of profit and 250. It's okay, profit is profit. The rate is a little low. Don't have enough food right now because of this debacle here. It's quite unfortunate. I mean, we should be able to throw down. I thought stations here would create a signal, but maybe doesn't because it's a pass-through. This should start going now. But we have to have a double set of tracks up here as well, it seems. So let's see if we can't get that. A little low on money right now. Trains, the railroad is starting to become our biggest sort of profiteer, and water's a little. I'm just gonna. It's lacking behind a little. Maybe we'll upgrade it, but I mean it was just to get us started, so I don't care too much there right now. Have to borrow another million so we can get this going though. I think we'll just tap into this here, and then those will have to compete. So let's pause so we don't ruin anything. Because then I really want a third set of tracks. For the steel, so the steel can have its own. So now steel is on its own set of tracks. If we can make this smoother, that would be nice, but it doesn't seem like we can. What if we go the other way? Oh, this track doesn't really follow the other track. I would prefer if that was the case though, so let's get that happening. And then we'll have to sort of make it split there. And that requires a signal just before entering the station. That's fine. Just have to sort of connect it down here. Let's pause it and get rid of that and this temporarily, so we can set this up to be true two line. And then we want this track to connect in here, right? Because they'll be going out. Oh, they'll be going back on this track. Can I select and make this a double switch then? Because then they can both go this way on here, but they'll also be able to go this way on here. It'll just switch it. And then not sure if we need that signal there. We can make it one way at least. Take a look at this train. Take a look at the line. How does that look? It looks good. And then obviously we need some more signals. Don't need this. Not sure if we need this signal here. I don't think so. But we do probably want one going into here. And one going into here. I'm not sure if they can figure it out on their own, to be honest, but at least now we have that, and it should work, I think. Let's get some signals. What's the signal distance usually? So we should probably have a set of signals here. That seems to be the signal distance. We probably need one. No, this should be fine. We only need one going into this because otherwise yeah, that'll be fine. So that train is now moving, that train is now moving. All the trains seem to be moving. That's good. Let's see, how about this little train easily making, well, it's not easy for it, but it is making its way up this enormous hill. 24 an hour, 23 an hour. Let's follow it a bit. So this does seem to match sort of the high slope speed. So going to having more capacity isn't really going to be feasible, I don't think. Now, question is whether or not we reach 50 on the rest. We should, right? Definitely should. And we got some income right now, so let's pay down our loan just a bit. We'd like to get back down to the 5 million. Let's take a look at our balance. We are sort of plateauing a little bit compared to the sharp incline we had earlier, just before 20 million too. Oh well, that is the name of the game. Hopefully this turns profitable eventually. But yeah, we do get to 50, and we do get to 50 for a lot of the way. So I definitely think that sacrificing those few kilometers an hour on the beginning of the track is gonna be worth it for that 20% increase for the rest of the track. Now let's see how much. We have 8 plastic sitting here and waiting. Or 8, not 8 plastic, 8 refined oil. So it does seem like the rate here, because this is gonna make another 30. There needs to be 30 whenever it gets here. And they have been running obviously a little less because they had to get started. But they have been running like at full flow most of the time. So we probably need to triple this. We don't have the money for that, okay. It does seem to be making a profit too, so that's good. I mean, we can't see at this point. It might only need to double because... yeah, it might only need to double because it did have to get here. Let's turn down to regular speed. That was some kind of goods factory getting destroyed. Hopefully not anything near here. No, I think it might have been this one over here, worthing. That's fine. We don't mind too much there. We had some money drop in, so now we can at least we want to double this. But you know, I'm just gonna triple it here to begin with. That way we'll at least have enough next time. How much money did we get for that? 1.3 million to get that oil up here. That's crazy, really. I'm not sure. I think let's just send it on its way. Oh wait, it was still producing. So let's wait. Can we just, what if we put it back? Okay, we can't. What if we let it go a little bit out? Okay, yeah, now we can. So let's at least wait until the stored amount here is depleted. And then we can send it on its way. Don't want to wait for the cars. They'll catch up and it'll be all good next time, I think. I think we'll be full enough. I don't think waiting for the other raid here to catch up is gonna be feasible or financially viable, at least. So let's just send it on its way. And then just quickly, I want to take a look at the grain supply here. The rate is 145. Do believe all the trains should be running. So how much food do we have waiting? We have 60 food waiting on us. And where is our food delivery? The train here. We're all the way up here. Didn't do a full run last time, but that is to be expected. Lots of not lots of machines. Okay, so we're gonna have to fix that next time. Get that up and going fully again. we'll also see just how much food we end up having here, because I think we could get an additional train up and running. We need to upgrade the planks though and the steel in order for the machines to be upgraded. Wendover did downgrade a little bit because the food supply diminished, but that should get back up in relatively no time. But that is gonna be all for our that is gonna be all for this episode at least. Let's just follow this train along. While I do the outro, we can speed the game up a bit. But yeah, thank you so much for watching. It's been a blast. We didn't get food to Corby as we thought, but instead we got this plastic line up and running, which was a nice little surprise to me as well. Yeah, we're gonna definitely utilize this. Hopefully we can get some goods going in the next couple of episodes. Hopefully Wendover gets up to speed again, and with the food delivery, and hopefully we can upgrade the food transport part as well now that we have fully double tracked and doubled the grain supply. We should be able to increase the food supply, but of course we need to fix those machines. Let's just see here, how far are we? We are coming in to the plastics factory here. Quite interesting how much it's gonna pay us. It didn't say. I couldn't see it there either. But we can see 500k. We weren't completely full. Let's just throw it back to regular. We weren't completely full. We're about 60%. So this is probably going to become 700k, and then we get that 1.4 million on the other way around. But yes, that was all for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. Please leave a like and a comment if you found the episode interesting. If you found it, if you have any comments or critiques, I'm more than happy to take them on. And of course, not a lot of you are subscribed that are watching these videos. It would really mean a lot to me, and it would really help a lot if you could subscribe. And maybe even hit that notification bell so that you get notified when the next episode of the EPEC run comes out. Yeah, that's all for me. I wish we could have just one last turn, but we're gonna have to wait a week. As always, thank you for watching. Goodbye.